Imagine waking up one day and realizing that your life isn't really yours. Every choice you made, every belief you hold, and even your desires may not come from your true self, but from outside influences and expectations. Let's think about how much of your identity comes from the real you and how much is just a facade created by society, your upbringing, or your fears. Today, we'll dive into one of Carl Jung's most important ideas, that real life begins when you discover who you really are. But what does it mean to find yourself? Is it just about being more self-aware, or is it a deeper, transformative journey? As we explore the hidden forces that shape your identity, you'll understand why many people never truly find themselves, and learn how you can break free. Jung was a pioneer in understanding the mind and believed that true psychological growth means becoming your authentic self, a process called individuation. Unfortunately, many people stay trapped in a version of themselves shaped by outside influences, complying with societal expectations without questioning if they align with their true selves. They seek approval from others, thinking happiness comes from fitting in, but deep down, they feel something is missing. Jung believed we stop truly living when we avoid facing ourselves. Before we can talk about finding ourselves, we must understand what holds most people back. From the moment we are born, we're conditioned and given labels that define who we are. We learn what is acceptable and what isn't. This process is so gradual that we rarely question it, leading us to hide parts of ourselves that don't conform to expectations. Reflect on your childhood. Were there moments when you expressed your true self, only to be discouraged? Perhaps you were told to be more practical, to not be too sensitive, or that certain feelings were unacceptable. Over time, you learn to suppress those aspects, creating a mask, which Jung called the persona. The persona helps us fit into society but can cause us to lose touch with our authentic selves. On the flip side, there is the shadow. If the persona is what we show to the world, the shadow is everything we hide, like our fears, unrecognized desires, and vulnerabilities. The shadow doesn't disappear because we ignore it, it affects our thoughts and actions without us realizing it. Sometimes we may dislike others simply because they reflect our own ignored qualities. But here's the key, within the shadow are parts of ourselves that can help us grow and find completeness. Jung argued that psychological progress doesn't mean eliminating the shadow but integrating it. By facing what we deny, we unlock a powerful source of authentic self and freedom. Are you ready to confront the truth about who you are? Breaking free from illusions can open the door to a life that's genuinely yours. Many assume they know who they are, identifying with their name, job, culture, and experiences. But Jung believed our true identity is actually more complex and tied to a deeper, hidden world of unacknowledged memories, emotions, desires, and potential. Finding yourself means uncovering what's been buried within you. Have you ever felt a longing for something more? That feeling is your unconscious mind calling you to grow. Jung's individuation process emphasizes that true fulfillment comes from embracing every part of ourselves, the good, the bad, the light, and the dark. To integrate these parts, we first have to confront them. This is where many people struggle because facing our true selves can be uncomfortable. It takes courage to question beliefs, challenge fears, and confront inner conflicts. Too often, we distract ourselves from self-reflection with work, social media, and entertainment to avoid dealing with deeper issues. Ignoring these hidden aspects doesn't make them go away. They can appear as anxiety, self-sabotage, unfulfilling relationships, or a constant feeling of being lost. Jung believed that our unconscious mind is always trying to communicate with us, but we often ignore its messages. If we pay attention, we can start to recognize patterns showing how our wounds influence our choices and behaviors. For example, think about a fear of rejection. Many people feel judged or abandoned and may hide their true thoughts to keep the peace. But where does this fear originate? Is it truly about others, or does it stem from past experiences? Jung would argue that this fear is a shadow aspect of ourselves that hasn't been acknowledged. Until we face it, it will control our actions. The incredible part is that once we confront these hidden sides, they lose their power over us. Imagine living without fear of judgment, expressing your truth freely, and making choices based on your own beliefs rather than others' expectations. This is the essence of individuation, becoming more of who you really are. But how do we start? Jung said that one of the best ways to access the unconscious is through symbols, dreams, and self-reflection. Dreams reveal truths about our psyche, and creative expressions like art or writing help us explore our inner selves. The most crucial step is awareness. By questioning your thoughts and beliefs, you take the first step towards transformation. When you face discomfort with curiosity, you begin to reclaim your true self. Most people live as strangers to themselves, following paths created for them and not realizing they have the power to choose a different one. They suppress their true nature, not knowing that embracing all parts of themselves is their greatest strength. You don't have to be one of those people. You can break free from the illusions holding you back and live fully, unapologetically. Finding yourself isn't just about a simple decision, it's a complex process of discovering hidden forces that have shaped you, facing what you've rejected, and integrating those aspects into a complete, authentic identity. Jung described archetypes, which are universal patterns within us that shape our thoughts, feelings, and behaviors often without our awareness. He called these deep-rooted blueprints archetypes, which are collective images inherited from our ancestors. These archetypes influence our personal identities and relationships and even shape how we experience the world. Think about recurring characters in stories, like the hero and the villain. These represent psychological forces that exist within all of us. For example, the hero archetype embodies your desire for purpose and growth, but it's always connected to the shadow, which represents the hidden challenges you must confront to evolve. Do you resist change even when you know it's time? That's the inner struggle between the hero and the shadow. The mistake many make is trying to suppress the shadow. Instead, true transformation happens when we learn from it. If you feel self-doubt, Jung would encourage you to ask where it comes from. Is it truly yours, or has it been influenced by past experiences or the expectations of others? What lessons could it offer you? When we view struggles as messages rather than weaknesses, our perspective shifts. Beyond the hero and the shadow, other powerful archetypes, such as the anima and animus, represent the hidden feminine and masculine aspects within each of us. These aren't about physical gender but the balance of energies we possess. When men deny their anima, they might struggle with emotions and vulnerability. When women reject their animus, they might hesitate to assert themselves. Embracing these energies leads to strength and wholeness. To find yourself truly, you must embrace every part of you, the light and the dark, and the masculine and feminine. Individuation is about becoming whole, not changing into someone else. Lastly, there's one final obstacle to finding yourself: the illusion of self. Many believe their identity is fixed and that their experiences define them. However, Jung and other thinkers understood that the self is fluid and ever-changing, far beyond our current perceptions. What if your current self is just a small piece of something much bigger, an evolving consciousness shaped by generations of wisdom? Jung's true self concept is the totality of who you are, beyond ego and illusions. This realization can be freeing and frightening. Everything you think you are might just be a temporary construct. The truth is, you're not a single identity. You're a vast interconnected field of consciousness, full of wisdom and immense potential for change. If this is true, why do we still feel limited? The answer is the ego. The ego creates separation and defines who we are. It helps us navigate the world but can also hinder our discovery of true self by clinging to familiar patterns. You're more than just an identity, you're continuously evolving. When you stop holding on to who you think you are, you unlock endless possibilities. But how do you step beyond self-illusion and experience your full existence? Jung proposed a path that requires courage and introspection. First, embrace the unknown. It's where growth happens. Lean into uncertainty with curiosity. Second, let go of rigid labels. You aren't defined by your name, job, or past. You are so much more. Third, listen to your unconscious. It communicates through dreams and intuition, guiding you towards wholeness. Lastly, surrender to the process. Finding yourself is an ongoing journey with deeper layers of truth. The good news is, you were never truly lost. Your true self has been within you, waiting to be rediscovered. Now, the choice is yours. Will you continue living as a fragment of who you are, limited by fears, or will you embrace the unknown and become the limitless being you were meant to be? Remember, life truly begins when you find yourself, and now you know how to start. Thank you for listening. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button. Thanks for looking.